I don't know nothing to no one else. Just been on my own, I know nothing else. Busy to live cause I know it helps. Avoiding the confront.
YN strolled through the crowded streets as the sun began to set, the paper bag she was holding crinkling with each step. Inside was a gift for Jimin, a simple leather-bound journal she had found in an old bookstore. It wasn't much, but she hoped it would mean something to him. As she approached Jimin's house, the sounds of laughter and music spilled out into the night. As she approached Jimin's house, the sounds of laughter and music spilled out into the night. Jimin spotted her from across the lawn, his smile reaching his eyes as he excused himself from a group of friends.
YN, you made it,
he said, enveloping her in a warm hug that smelled faintly of his cologne. I wouldn't miss it for the world. YN replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She handed him the paper bag, her heart racing. YN replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She handed him the paper bag, her heart racing.
Let's see what you've got here,
he said, curiosity lighting up his features. Before YN could protest, Jimin had opened the gift, revealing the journal to the gathering crowd. Jenny, with her impeccable timing, sauntered over, a glass of in hand.
Is that a diary, Jimin? How quaint.
She drawled, the word quaint dripping with condescension. YN felt her cheeks. The weight of the eyes around her suddenly too much to bear. Her eyes darted around, seeking an escape from the piercing gazes. Jimin, sensing her discomfort, stepped in front of her, shielding her from the crowd.
It's perfect, YN,
he said, his voice firm, loud enough for everyone to hear.
This journal, it's where I'll write my future.
Jenny rolled her eyes, taking a sip of her.
If you say so,
she muttered, before flouncing off to join the other guests. Jimin turned to YN, his eyes softening.
Don't mind her. Come, let's get some fresh air,
he suggested, guiding her towards the quieter part of the garden. As they walked, the noise of the party faded into a distant hum.
I'm sorry about Jenny,
Jimin began, breaking the silence.
She can be harsh.
YN shook her head, a sad smile on her lips. It's not your fault. I wanted to give you something special, but I guess I should have known better. Jimin stopped, facing her.
YN, look at me.
He urged gently.
You did give me something special. This journal isn't just a book, it's a piece of you. And that means everything to me.
YN's heart fluttered at his words, and for a moment, the world seemed to stand still. The next day, Jimin found Jenny in the university cafeteria.
We need to talk,
he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Jenny raised an eyebrow, setting down her coffee.
About?
About last night. About what you said to YN.
Jimin replied, his jaw set. Jenny sighed, leaning back in her chair.
Oh, come on, Jimin. It was just a joke.
A joke at someone else's expense is not a joke, Jenny. It's...
Jimin countered.
YN is my friend, and I won't stand by while you belittle her.
Jenny's expression softened, a hint of remorse flickering in her eyes.
I didn't realize. I'm sorry, Jimin.
Jimin nodded, accepting her apology.
Just be kinder, okay? We all come from different walks of life.
In the weeks that followed, Jimin couldn't shake the image of YN's crestfallen face from his mind. He began to notice the little things about her. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about her dreams. The passion in her voice when she spoke about change. One evening, as they sat on the university steps, Jimin turned to her.
YN, why have you been avoiding me?
He asked, his voice laced with concern. YN. Her. Looking away. I don't belong in your world, Jimin. I'm just different. Jimin took her hand, his touch gentle.
Different is good, YN. Different is what draws me to you.
Her eyes met his, a mix of hope and fear. What are you saying, Jimin?
I'm saying that I've fallen for you, YN. For your heart, for your spirit.
Jimin confessed, his words a whisper in the twilight. The revelation changed everything. Jimin and YN faced whispers and stares. But they found strength in each other. They talked about their hopes, their fears, and their love that bridged the gap between their worlds. One day, Jimin took YN to the place where they first shared their moment of understanding, the quiet part of the garden. There, under the stars, he knelt before her, a small velvet box in his hand.
YN, will you make every day brighter with your presence in my life?
He asked, his eyes shining with emotion. Tears glistened in YN's eyes as she nodded, her voice a soft murmur. Yes, Jimin. Yes, 1,000 times. And as they embraced, the world around them melted away. They knew the road ahead would be challenging. But as long as they had each other, they could face anything. And there you have it, a tale of love, acceptance, and the beauty of differences.